All rise. O ye, silence is commanded by this honorable commission. All those having business, draw near.
While we are standing, may you bow your heads with me in prayer as we do the invocation. Our Father who art in heaven, who has given us health, who has given us strength, who has given us life, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, we come to say thank you. We thank you for this day. Lord, we thank you that you will allow your peaceful spirit to abide within this room, that we will take care of the business of those here in Chatham County. Bless us to make those wise decisions that are beneficial to all our citizens. For this we ask in the name of Jesus we pray. Amen, amen, and amen. Please pledge your flag with Commissioner Stone. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Roll call.
Chester A. Ellis, Chairman.
Present.
Kenneth A. Adams, District 8, Vice Chairman.
Present.
Helen L. Stone, District 1, Chairman Pro Tem.
Present.
Larry Gator Rivers, District 2.
Present.
Bobby Lockett, District 3. Patrick K. Farrell, District 4.
Here.
Tanya Melton, District 5.
Present.
Aaron Whiteley, District 6.
Here.
Dean Kicklider, District 7.
Here.
All right, thank you, ma'am. At this time, let me please ask all of you now, check your cell phones, including commissioners, Commissioner Lockett. Make sure make sure you, I'm glad I remind you too, make sure you cut it off or make it mute now, because I don't want the sheriff deputy to go home with his pockets full, all right? Because he will confiscate your phone. So I ask now that you please, ma'am, please, sir, mute your phones or cut them completely off. Let me also ask at this time now, do we have the sign-up sheet over there? You have it? Okay. Hold on. We're getting ready to go into a public hearing. We have two people who have signed up to speak during the public hearing. This public hearing is held in conjunction with the law as it requires us to do on the Chatham County fiscal year 2023 budget. All right. And so now, if you want to speak, please, ma'am, please, sir, come up and sign up if you have not signed up. If you want to speak on the budget, please, ma'am, please, sir, come up and sign up. Ms. Linda, Ms. Kramer has it over here to my right. Okay, same two. All right. Any others? Any others? Going once, going twice. That offer is off the table. This is a public hearing to hear on the fiscal year 2023 budget as required by law, and I'll now ask Ms. Kramer to call the first.
Sorry.
Oh, wait, let me make sure. Hold on, let me make sure I'm right. Do I have to go through the motions of opening it by vote? Okay, I don't want to miss anything.
Declare it open, and
All right.
when we close it and go in regular session, yes.
Okay.
All right, so now I can just declare it open? All right. So we declare that the public hearing is now open. Okay, Ms. Kramer?
Okay, our first speaker is Cheryl Jones with Victim Witness, the Chatham County Violence Prevention Program.
Ms. Jones, is she here? From
Okay.
Silent Witness?
Moving
right.
along. Savannah Volunteer Dental Clinic, Peter Roberts and Sister Pat Barber, which is
Okay.
a free family dental clinic. And just as a preface, they were funded this fiscal year. They were off to a slow start, so no funding was recommended next year.
Okay. Yeah, this is a budget hearing.
Go ahead.
You have the floor, sir.
Good morning.
morning.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you. We are representing Savannah Volunteer Dental Clinic, which is a free dental clinic for uninsured, low-income adults and children. We want to first thank you so much for the support you provided and allowed us to open this clinic in February of this year. We have been operating since. Unfortunately, our opening was delayed by 6 months because of the difficulty of finding a space that we could rent. We now have opened, and we operate every Friday, and we see children and adults who meet our criteria. Our dentist couldn't be with you today because today is Friday and they're seeing patients all day. I am a community volunteer and a board member with Savannah Volunteer Dental Clinic. Sister Pat Baber co-chairs our adult dental program task force with me, and she also directs St. Mary's and Good Samaritan Health Centers. We are completely volunteer-oriented, so we rely on clinicians and administrators, and we provide services to all who come, with the only requirements being they are uninsured and that they are low income. We're here to request a reconsideration of our request for renewed funding for this coming year to allow us to continue to support and serve your constituents. All of our patients are so grateful from the support that they have received from us, and have been unable to get dental services for years, some over 5 years. We serve everybody who shows up who meets our criteria. I would like to turn to Sister Pat Weber to share with you a couple of stories of patients, your constituents, who have been served by our free clinic.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. You know, we're all very familiar with statistics. They're part of our everyday life. We depend on them. But I would just like to remind us that behind each of those numbers, in this case, lies a person. And that person has a particular unique story with needs and hopes and dreams. And so I just want to share two of the people that used the free clinic this year, since February of this year. One gentleman hadn't been to a dentist in 8 to 10 years. When he presented, he had 7 cavities that needed to be taken care of. If he had, when asked about why he had not gone, if he had gone to any of the FQHCs, he would have had to have paid over $700 for the service, and he could not afford that. Another gentleman, 2003 was the last time he had seen a dentist, 19 years ago. In the last 4 years, he has had problems with his teeth hurting so much and so much pain and sensitivity that he lost lots of weight and began having to smash his food in order to eat. When he presented at the free clinic, they needed to do a debridement, which is, if you will, a power wash of your teeth, literally a power wash. They couldn't even do a cleaning because there was so much tartar and plaque buildup. They had to do the power wash first before they could do a cleaning. He needs many extractions. They're hoping to salvage some of his teeth. Now, both of these gentlemen wanted very, very badly to have health care. It's important to them. They understand the importance, but they could not afford it. They said with the income that they have to prioritize. Housing, food, utilities come before the luxury of dental care. They wanted you to know that because of your generosity and your vision for health care for your constituents, this year, after 19 years and 8 years, they were able to get the care they needed because of this commission's generosity. So on their behalf, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Any questions from any commissioner? Make sure you raise your hand. So I saw Commissioner Kicklight was first, and I saw Commissioner Milton and Commissioner Whiteley. So 7, 5, 6, 1.
First, I'd like to thank both of you. That's outstanding work and very much needed, because I know how expensive dental services can be. What was the amount that the county gave y'all for last year,
Yes.
and what are y'all requesting now?
The amount given to us, and made available to us for last year was $43,000.
Okay,
And our renewal request is for $45,000.
all right, and did you say y'all actually opened in November?
We opened in February of this
In
year.
February.
We were scheduled to open 6 months earlier, but we were unable to find a suitable clinic space that would rent or lease to us.
Okay, where are y'all currently located?
We are located on Johnny Mercer Boulevard on Wilmington Island. It is not the most convenient of locations, but we do provide transportation for those who need it.
Yeah, okay. Can you tell me how many different, not visits at this point, but how many different citizens was actually served as far as received services there?
Yeah, yes, we serve approximately 15 individuals every week.
15 every week, so
And we, kids in the morning and adults in the afternoon.
15 different individuals is what I'm
Correct.
asking, or?
Correct,
Okay.
15 different individuals.
All right, so how many total visits were there since y'all opened? Do you know where
Um,
people received services?
I believe our first quarter was 50 visits. And then our second quarter will be approximately the same. We are expecting to have approximately 336 visits for this coming fiscal year.
336? Are y'all
got-
receiving funding from any other government agency?
We do receive some funding from the city of Savannah,
Can you tell us how much?
$10,000. And then we do receive funding from a couple of other local foundations and a couple of national dental foundations. We work very, very hard to make sure that the county is one of a number of supporters and not the sole supporter.
Okay. I appreciate everything that y'all have done, and I do think, and I know you said this, but definitely probably if you can ever find something that comes available in an area other than the islands, could there be
Absolutely.
more people to serve?
Excellent.
But I really do appreciate everything that y'all have been doing. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Milton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank you as well for the job that you're doing, and perhaps we can get the services, like you say, in the islands. We need some help on the west
We
side too,
understand. Absolutely, as soon
and in
as we can.
unincorporated Chatham County.
Yeah,
Yep.
we just wanted to get started, but as soon as we can, and we're looking all the time for more centrally located space.
But Commissioner Milton, we are providing transportation, free transportation to move people who can't. We have 2 hubs that people meet, and we have people that come and pick them up and transport them to the islands and bring them back.
How do you advertise your services?
Right now, it's word of mouth, and that's more than enough that we can handle.
Yeah, I just wanted to know.
Because there's waiting lists, right now.
Right. How many dentists do you have serving?
We have 6 dentists altogether in our volunteer pool, and we're continuing to build that every month.
And they are all, do they interchange just on Friday, or you have other days available?
Right now, it's only Fridays. We are looking at a potential of an evening clinic because we've had a number of our patients who have said that it was very difficult to get time off from work to come on Friday during the day. So we will be starting an evening clinic.
And
as well.
Sister Pat, you can send me an email. we'll get some talk about it. Thank you.
Commissioner Whiteley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So thank you so much for what you do for our community, and I know the people that you serve as well as myself really appreciate it. When I look at and hearing my colleagues, some of the questions that they asked, and understanding what staff said in reference to there being limited data because you did get started later, maybe to offer some perspective. J.C. Lewis and Curtis V. Cooper are also organizations that we work with, and they offer dental services too.
Yes.
And I think it would potentially, for the sake of accountability, especially on our behalf, it may set a bad precedent to give money on projections when we're expecting them to give money based on data. And so when I look at it at the end of the day, I think what you guys are doing is great. It's nothing against what you're doing, but at the end of the day, we're still accountable to the taxpayers for what we're giving out. And I look forward to seeing a request next year, because at that point we'll have some data to support what you're doing. But projections, sometimes it's hard to place resources on maybes. Understandably, in this economic times that we're dealing with now, maybes don't really pan out a lot of times. And so I will just say, from my personal perspective, I don't speak for the commission at large, but just looking at the fact that we do fund J.C. Lewis, who has dental services, Curtis V. Cooper, who have dental services, and if you actually take a look at the budget documents, one of those organizations didn't get or hasn't been recommended for what they have received in the past. So accountability is a big thing for us, and I really want to make sure that we have the data to support allocating taxpayers' dollars. So thank you again, and I just wanted to be frank with you, for all intents and purposes.
Thank you. And we would be the first to say, we absolutely, definitely need J.C. Lewis and Curtis Cooper. They do great work, but you have to have money to get services. It is not free. And if you look at the statistics of the poverty level of Savannah and Chatham County, you have a lot of people who need free.
Absolutely, and that being the case, being wise with where we're putting dollars on displayed needs rather than projections is a safer bet, so to speak, or more efficient use in my opinion. So again, I agree. We have a huge group of people in poverty, and we definitely have a lot of work to do in doing and working on that. And so with that, we have data on that and not projections. Yep. But thank you.
All right, Commissioner Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Deeply appreciate what you all are doing. I actually am a board member for Curtis Cooper, and it's my understanding, I'm hoping that maybe there can be a little more of a partnership, but that their patients basically will pay based on what they can afford to pay. So I would like to look into that, because there's no doubt in my mind that dental services in this community are not needed. And we're finding with the Curtis Cooper, with the mobile units going into the schools, starting with these young children that have never seen a dentist, or are scared of a dentist, don't know what it means. So there's definitely a need, but I would like to follow up. I was under the impression that Curtis Cooper's payments was on a scale of what someone could actually afford, and I do want to look into that, because I think we need all the help that we can get.
Thank you.
Sure.
That would be
Thank you.
that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other commissioner? Let me thank you all for appearing here today, and thank you for the service that you rendered. And so that you don't think the lights are completely out and you're in the dark, we do have a chance at midterm budget, all right, if we can make adjustments at midterm, if nothing can happen now. And as Commissioner White to say, we can get that data between now and midterm, then we may have a second look at doing this budget cycle.
We have submitted one quarterly report, and
Right.
the second quarterly report will be submitted on time at the end of this month.
All right, thank you.
Yes,
All right.
Thank you for your services.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Let me ask now, is the representative from Victor Witness here? They're not here?
No.
Okay, with that, we can declare this, public hearing, over?
Yes, sir.
It's concluded. All right, the public hearing session is over, it's closed, and at this time, we are going to turn this portion of the program over to the Honorable Mayor Van Johnson as we look to the 2022 Youth Commission graduation ceremonies.
Thank you and good morning, Mr. Chairman, ladies
morning.
and gentlemen of this honorable commission. It's certainly my pleasure to be back here in this special place and particularly among Team Chatham. 31 years ago, your predecessors made a very conscious and very unconventional decision to be able to decide to stop waiting for society to perhaps raise our best and brightest, but to make a conscious decision to do something about it, to make sure that we raised our own, to make sure we created our own bench, so to speak, to create ways of our young people to be able to do better and be better, and that the county had a role in being able to make that happen. 31 years ago, your predecessors determined that we were just not going to leave success to osmosis, that we were going to engage, and we didn't really know how we were going to do it, but yet 31 years later, we have the Chatham County Youth Commission, which is a national best practice. We do many things well here in Chatham County, but in terms of youth engagement on the governmental side, we do it the best. And that has been confirmed not only by the National Association of Counties, but also the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia. To that end, also the National League of Cities, who have recognized what you all have done here in Chatham County. We recognize that it's much easier to put money on the front end than to put money on the back end. It's much easier to build strong young people than to repair broken older people. And so I salute you all for that. And to that end, we bring forth together this edition of the Chatham County Youth Commission, the class of 2022. We celebrate this day because we celebrate achievement. We celebrate that they have not only completed this wonderful program, but now they're moving on to their best. And we celebrate them publicly because we want the world to know not only how proud we are of them, but how we affirm them as they go forward in life. Certainly, you know the many success stories we have from the Chatham County Youth Commission. Some of them among our government today that got their starts in government, got their familiarity in government by getting to know our county, understanding how it works, and then becoming a part of the process. No, they don't all run for public office, but I guarantee you they all become good citizens. And they become engaged and they become involved, and that's because of the experience that you've given them. This year and the last 2 years have been very challenging for us. In my 27 years now of leading the Youth Commission, I have not seen anything like it. We really didn't know how to react. As you know, our organization is very high impact, very high touch, very high contact, and we just couldn't do it. We just could not do it. We had to figure out a way of how to remain relevant, how to remain fun, without being able to bring young people together. And so it was really difficult, which is why I'm really so proud of these young people that are graduating today. They held it together. We did not have the annual trips that we usually have. We didn't have the other types of sessions, our youth rallies, our reunions and things we did. We just didn't do it, and yet they stuck with this program. All of these young people are 3-year youth commissioners, so they have been here when we did the things we did, and then by comparison, the things that we were not able to do, and yet they stuck with us, and so we're so delighted to celebrate their accomplishments. All of them are high school graduates now, and so we are ecstatic about what that means for our community as we release these young people on this very unsuspecting world. World better look out. I want to certainly lift the name of Dr. Priscilla Thomas for her vision. And as much as she can be engaged, she is engaged, and she's always asking about her babies. And so We continue to love her and continue to pray for her as she just deals with dealing and deals with living. But she's always a part of us. Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for your kindness toward these young people and looking in on them and engaging with them. It means something. The fact is that they don't get to interact with the President of the United States. They don't get to interact often with their senators or their governors, but they get to interact with you. You're the government that they see. And so thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your time and your encouraging words towards them. To our County Manager, Lee Smith, and by extension, the Assistant County Managers of Michael Kegler and Linda Kramer, thank you all. They have been there from the very beginning, so they recognize this journey, which means y'all have been around a really long time. From the very, very beginning, I think from Linda's first stint in the finance area, the Youth Commission was born. Certainly all of the county departments, even though I've retired, they still like us, and so they still are willing to help. And thank you to all of our county departments for being able and being willing to help our young people, particularly and certainly the Human Resources Department, and then the team that helps me to make this happen. Octavia Brown, stand up, Ms. Brown, let everybody see you. I'll give her a round of applause. And then I also see Miss Linda Gordon, Tamika Tribble, and Idell Bowles. And you know, again, these are volunteers, and so we thank them so much for helping us. And then last but certainly not least, we thank the parents. It takes a village to raise a child, and we thank the parents for allowing us to be a part of their village. We thank them for allowing us to sometimes be a bit challenging to these young people. By not sometimes allowing us not to accept excuses from them. And so we thank all of our parents for being our partners in progress, as we like to call them. So if all the parents that are here, please stand of our graduates. So thank you. So we thank all of them, and now we give them back to them. We give them back, but as you all know, once a member of Chatham County, you're always a member of Chatham County. So that being said, Mr. Chairman, if you would come down and join us as we salute our graduates, and staff, if you would come and help Ms. Brown. And we're going to ask, as we call your names, we'll have our graduate come. We'll ask their parents to come up and be here as well. Start here. So our chair is Ms. Faith Walker. She graduated from Savannah Early College, and she is going to Clark Atlanta University. Mr. Francisco Molina graduated from Savannah Early College, and he is going to Georgia Southern University. Ms. Desiree Young graduated from Woodville Tompkins, and she is going to Savannah Technical College.
You get a double congratulations for the best school in the nation.
Mr. Lavelle Allen graduated from Jenkins High School, and he is going on a full ride to Xavier University. Now, this young man is special to me because he's a youth commissioner, but his dad was my youth commissioner how many years ago?
2002.
Yeah, so this is our first graduates that we have father and son. So And they both taller than me. One more shot, please. Hold it. Thank you. Dahlia Anderson is graduated from Savannah Arts Academy, and she is going to Kennesaw State University. Good smiles. Hold it. One more. Hold it. Thank you. Miss Anaya Hutchison graduated from Groves High School, and she's going to Albany State University. All those smiles, hold it. One more shot, lovely. Hold it. Thank you. Miss Andrell Schumann graduated from Beach High School, and she's going to Augusta University. Hold those smiles, hold it. Awesome, one more. Hold it. Thank you.
Commissioner Rivers says you got a condition you got to uphold, okay? See him over there? He said,
Beach High School. Miss Kennedy Brown graduated from Woodville Tompkins, and she is going to go to Empire Beauty School. Help me grow some hair. Big smile, hold it. One last shot. Hold it. Thank you.
best school in the nation.
And last but not least, Miss Anaya Stevenson, who was the valedictorian for Beach High School, and she is going to Augusta University. Hold those smiles, everyone. Lovely. Hold it. One more shot. Hold it. Awesome. Thank you all so much. Just for a couple of comments, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned previously, this young lady will be attending Clark Atlanta University as a Dr. Isabella T. Jenkins Political Science Honors Scholar, minoring in military science, and she will be an Army ROTC cadet. Don't let her size fool you. After graduation from Clark Atlanta, she plans to be commissioned in the United States Army and begin her career as a judge advocate general officer. So I introduce our chairwoman, Faith Walker.
Good morning, Chairman Ellis and the Board of County Commissioners. I am Faith Divine Walker, a 2022 honor graduate of the Savannah Early College High School, and I have the distinct honor and privilege of serving as the Chatham County Youth Commission Chairwoman. Graduates, today is June 10th, 2022, right? Does that date ring a bell? I guess fate would have it that we graduate the same day we started. You see, on June 10th, 2019, exactly 3 years ago to date, we were in this very room, bright and early, glossy-eyed and eager as ever in our white shirts, jeans, white shoes, and Tic Tacs. Talk about a full circle moment. Now, exactly 3 years later, our time as youth commissioners has come to an end, and I couldn't help but reflect and talk about the people that we have to thank for getting to this point. I would like to thank former District 8 County Commissioner and founder of the Youth Commission, Dr. Priscilla Thomas, for her unwavering vision and passion for providing young people a space to make our mark on the community, be civically engaged, and offer a fresh perspective on our community and nation's most pressing issues. To our Executive Director, Mayor Johnson, thank you for your leadership and always teaching us to work that job out. In 2019, I remember being in a meeting and receiving a call from you stating that I was nominated to be on Youth Commission, and you said, "Don't let me down." Well, as chairwoman today, I hope I didn't. But thank you for everything, sir. To my executive board, I hope that your tenure on the executive board brought out the best in each of you by challenging you to do more than you thought you were capable of doing. I'm proud of each of you for being leaders, scholars, and students of life on and outside of the Youth Commission. We now take our respective paths in life, but we're locked in forever. I couldn't ask for a better team. The honor to serve alongside each of you, I assure you, was mine. Now go be great. To the youth who, if you're anything like me, in 2018 and 2019 might be watching these meetings via live stream, and to the youth who aspire to vocalize their views for a prosperous future. My hope is that these set of youth commissioners make you as excited and eager to join this organization as the 2018-2019 youth commissioners made me. I would watch these meetings in 2018 and 2019 with great anticipation, understanding that I was on the precipice of something great, something monumental, something life-changing, and so are you. Graduates, the life that awaits many of us outside of Chatham County is limitless and may teach us several lessons, but we'll always be able to recount our experiences on Youth Commission as our collective genesis and common denominator. And it may teach us that with God's help, there's nothing to fear, or that we have a past to cherish, a future to fulfill, or if you're like me, to find a way or make one. As we embark on the world, have confidence in God's plan for your life, and that nothing can stop that plan from unfolding. Take up space, whatever space you require to be freely and unapologetically you. Take up the space necessary to be the version of yourself you were called to be. You literally can go as far as your imagination takes you. But don't just take up space. Hold space for the people who are just taking it day by day and haven't found their place or voice in this world yet. I love each of you, and I can't wait to see you all make your mark on the world, as I know you will. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. Our vice chairman is steady and solid, ready to lead, and ready to serve. As I mentioned previously, he will remain relatively local as he becomes the Eagle at Georgia Southern University. And I introduce our vice chairman, Francisco Molina.
Hello, good morning. My name is Francisco Molina. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and everyone else for being here today. Before I start, I do want to say thank you for the opportunities Chatham County Youth Commission has gave us. But I do want to say thank you for everything. It is important for the youth to have opportunities like this, opportunities to grow, opportunities to learn. I don't think 3 years ago I would have been here giving a speech. I'm not the one to talk too much, but simple things as given the opportunity to be up here allow me to grow just a little bit more. Chatham County Youth Commission is an easy place to find people to rely on. Everyone here is chosen for a reason. Everyone here is here for a reason, and everyone in Chatham County Youth Commission is a friend. I do want to say thank you to Mr. Johnson. I'm sorry. The mics. As I've said before, this is difficult for me. Okay. Although things have slowed down in recent years, it is easy to see how fast life can go by with Chatham County Youth Commission. You can see so many different experiences, meet so many different people, and simple things as just going to museums, learning about United States history, Georgia history are things I don't think I would have experienced. And I do want to say thank you again for experiences such as that. Once again, I want to thank Mr. Johnson and everyone who helps lead Chatham County Youth Commission. Strong leaders are only born from even stronger leaders. Mr. Johnson the other day asked me in our last Chatham County Youth Commission meeting, what is one thing that I can give to other Chatham County Youth Commissioners? My final word. Honestly, I was speechless. It is hard to condense 3 years of experiences, tips and advice into such a simple question. And I do want to say that my advice is to not keep your tongue tied. For people like me who have trouble speaking, it is easy to sit still, be quiet, and not speak at all. But giving advice in things such as meetings and giving your word can help a lot. And I think that is all. Thank you.
And if you indulge us, we just have 2 quick awards to be able to give that are representative of the best of among us. So I will ask Ms. Desiree Young and Mr. Lavelle Allen to make those presentations.
Good morning. The Brandon Brown Youth Commissioner of the Year Award is named in honor of a young man who exemplified the core values of the Youth Commission. I am told that Brandon was a unique person who loved the Youth Commission and was active even after his graduation. When Brandon passed away in 2004 at the age of 21, his passing left a void that still exists today. This award is presented to the Youth Commissioner who during the year has exhibited the 5 core values of the Youth Commission, which is respect, success, influence, integrity, and leadership. This year, we ended up having a tie. Our first recipient is well liked and respected by everyone. Although she is finishing her first term, we look forward to great things from her in years to come. It is my pleasure to present the 2022 Brandon Brown Youth Commissioner Award to Amira Ali. At this moment, she isn't present. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Our second recipient is completing her first term in the Chatham County Youth Commission. Although quiet, she is positive and has made a great impact during this term. She was elected unopposed to be our next chairwoman of the Chatham County Youth Commission. It is my pleasure to present to everyone the 2022 Brandon Brown Youth Commissioner of the Year Award, Bashaya McNutt.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, herein lies our 2022-2023 budget request. It's one thing, and I heard the prior dialogue, it's one thing to not know. We have data. We have 31 years. Commissioner Kicklighter, you've been around for a whole lot of it. When I had a lot of hair and it was all black, but we now have young people now in their 40s with children of their own that are responsible citizens, over 1,200 of them right here in Chatham County that are living their best life. But more importantly, we find as opposed to before when they would leave the county and never come back, they're coming back. And more importantly, they're staying and they're making a difference. We're building our own bench. So thank you all for your support. Certainly for me of these last 27 years of engaging these young people, thank you for making young people a priority, and our county is better because of it. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. There it is. Thank you, sir. And we sure appreciate it. And congratulations to all of you, and best wishes as you move forward in your endeavor. There are no chairman items, no commissioner items, no table items. That brings us to items for individual action. To request approval of the following budget amendments and transfers. in the computer replacement fund, appropriate $100,000 fund balance to computer replacement operation budget. 2, in the SPOS 4 fund, 323, increase revenue and expenditures, $230,953 for the McQueen Trail project. In the general fund, transfer $200,000 from salary and repair and maintenance in the aquatic center budget. And we transferring that to the recreation. Taking out of park and rec. Okay, all right, good, we got it good, straight. Transfer $800,000 from detention center salaries to transfer out to CIP. Transfer $200,000 from sheriff office salaries to transfer out to CIP. 4, in the restricted court fee, appropriate $50,000 fund balance to police speed camera operations budget. In the capital improvement plan, transfer $1 million from the general fund and establish a capital, excuse me, capital project for the sheriff department. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman, but I also have a question.
All right.
Once this.
Second,
once this
let
is
me get the
seconded.
second. We have properly motion and second. That'll be approved, ready for the unreadiness. Commissioner Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This $230,953 from McQueen's Trail, is this just another, and I hate to use this word, Band-Aid, or are we actually going to try to stabilize this trail?
That's a question for those engineers, isn't it?
Yeah,
County engineer.
truth of the matter is, it's probably never gonna be stabilized. And the reason for that is you got 8-foot tides and you got big boats that run up and down next to it, create wakes, throw the water up on it.
The only reason I bring this up, we've put money here before, and I understand it's a wonderful trail and I want to keep it, but is there something more we can do to fix this so that we don't every 3 or 4 years allocate over $200,000 to shoring it up?
We could put a retaining wall up if we could get the permit from the state, which we will not.
Well, it would seem to me that we need to ask the state for that. I mean, I just hate throwing money and money and money.
We have asked them for it, but they won't give us the permit to do it.
What's wrong with them?
I don't know.
Environmentally not
We'll
sound.
get you a
Good question,
report.
Reg.
We'll get you a report on the trail.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
Unless
I'm
you're
just,
ready.
Yeah, here comes Susan.
I know it's important to
it's
keep this
complicated.
trail, but it bothers me that taxpayers' money is just, being washing away.
Yeah, and we had FEMA money too.
And even the Corps of Engineers have pulled away from this because they don't have a solution?
Okay, yes, so what happened was we partnered with the Corps to do a study to see if what could be done offshore of the trail to help protect it. And so we sent them money to do that. And when we sent them the money to do that, they got initially into it and did a feasibility study to see if it was even worth everybody's expense to go further with the study. They got into it, spent a little bit of money, found out what we do offshore is not going to be enough to justify spending all this money on this study. So they've returned the money to us. So all we're doing is trying to put that money back into the account that it came out of originally. The improvements to the trail are complete. We have no more improvements to be made to the trail. It's shored up as much as we could do. The only construction that may be seen on the trail at this point is the removal of the midpoint bridge, that access. DOT is closing that access and will no longer allow parking there. So we're going to have the bridge removed to keep people from parking there and using it illegally. People will now have to park at Fort Pulaski. But there are no other further improvements to the trail itself proposed at this time.
Okay, will support this time, but I really am going to be paying attention to forthcoming how much money we have to put to this. And I do think if I understood correctly, the Assistant County Manager, Ms. Kramer, saying that this is complicated. I think we need to get to the bottom of it, because I don't think it's right to just keep throwing money at something that'll never be properly fixed.
Well, we honestly believe the improvements we have made out there are gonna last.
Okay.
What we have done to the trail, the portion of the trail that we've shored up, are going to last. It's a good design, it's protected. This action is just to receive back the money that the Corps returned.
Okay. All right, then, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Commissioner Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've been following this project closely since its inception many, many years ago. Due to the highly eroding environment that it's in, we had a lot of difficulty keeping that old railroad bed where the Nancy Hanks used to go from Atlanta to Tabby intact for linear trail and recreational use. So at one point, the Corps was making us put bags of oysters to try to shore it up and using us kind of as an experimental station at county taxpayer expense. I don't believe that they worked all that well. However, as Suzanne was speaking earlier, we have changed the methodology of shoring that up using what works in Chatham County, which is bridges, and let the water where it wants to come through, let it come through and go back and forth. And some stronger riprap or what have you that will hold up against what everybody that lives on the marsh or the waterfront or visits it understands happens with these huge tidal flows. So as we have transitioned out of the experimental phase where we're doing stuff that traditionally has not ever been done in this county, and for good reason. After proving that, we're going back to more traditional methodologies that work in Chatham County under these saltwater environment conditions. So I agree with the county engineer that going forward, I think we're going to have much better, longer lasting results for the money we're investing in this historic railroad bed that's now a recreational linear trail.
All right, any other? All right, cast your votes. All right, thank you. Request vote approval, the chairman of the Chatham County to execute a resolution to call the county and municipalities of Chatham County to have an initial meeting to begin official local option sales tax loss negotiations and for an agreement upon tax certificate setting forth the various percentage of loss, revenue, and distribution among the county and municipalities and the certifying filing with the Commissioner of the Georgia Department of Revenue. Is there a motion?
I move to.
This is to adopt the resolution.
Resolution, right.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the said resolution as stated.
Second.
Properly motion and
Clear the
second
board.
that the request and adoption of are you ready for the question? Please vote. Okay. Request vote approval of a resolution for the daily pay rate for the Chatham County Superior Court part-time hearing officer. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Second. I have a
Properly motion
question.
and second that the request be granted. Are you ready for the question? I got Commissioner Whiteley in 6. Any other? Okay, Commissioner Whiteley.
Mr. Chairman and my colleagues here on this commission, I just want to kind of make another note, considering what we heard at our budget hearing in reference to courts, and then here we are allocating more funds to court. I think it is in good order for us to reconvene and kind of have another huddle with the courts to just kind of talk about their needs. I understand ARPA is one branch of funding, and then here we are with another one. But I want to make sure that we're really assessing what we're going to be needing to allocate or continue to allocate, because at the end of the day, here's one agenda item. 3 or 4 more of these could be hundreds of thousands of dollars in the grand scheme of things. So I just wanted to kind of share that with us. I'm really calling and urging us, Mr. Chairman, to let's, if we can at all possible, please form a huddle with the judicial system, so to speak, just to kind of talk more about their needs so we can really know what we're working with, especially as we're going into budget season. But that was all.
Okay, now, understand that this position and these things are requested of us because they're coming out the ARPA funds, and what the feds have said to us is backlog, okay? So we are moving that money so that we can cover that backlog, and
Yeah, it's
you may
currently
get,
budgeted.
yeah, and let me say, you may get more of these, and the reason you may get more of these is because the Superior Court, and you saw Judge Colbert was here, all right, she was hoping to speak on this, but she had court at 10:30, so she had to get out of here. But they are trying to kind of put them all together and bring them all once, but they're finding at different times they need different things.
Right.
All right, so, but remember now, this is all opera funds, okay? So we may get some more of these. I'm almost sure you're gonna get some more of them now. And don't say, I don't need me saying may. I'm sure you can get some more of them. But just remember now, those are those federal funds, and we just got that second installment, or just getting that second installment to do these with.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I totally understand. I read the staff report. I understand this is coming from ARPA funding and so on and so forth. What I'm saying is, the more information we have on the front end, when we do get more of these, we know what we're looking at, so that we're making informed decisions. Because again, this is ARPA funding. Backlog is what we're addressing, but at the end of the day, we're still dealing with people's lives. And so I want to make sure that the courts have what they need, and we have a fair, true, full assessment of what they need. I understand there was some realignment that took place to be more efficient, and I appreciate that. I'm sure those who've been sitting in jail appreciate it too. Those who are innocent sitting in jail at least. But I just want to make sure that we are armed with as much information as possible, because at the end of the day, we're held accountable for allocating the dollars, and that's all I was saying, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
Thank you for the explanation.
Anybody else? All right, please cast your vote. Okay. Board approval of a resolution to approve the service delivery strategy agreement and authorize the chairman to execute required documents for submission to the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Properly motion and second that the request be granted. Are you ready for the question? Please cast your votes. All right. Moving on to the action calendar, we are going to take out number 9 and number 10. So may I have a motion to adopt everything except number 9 and 10?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Properly motion is second that the action calendar be adopted in its entirety except for number 9 and number 10. Are you ready for the question? Please cast your votes. Okay, number 9. Request Board of Commissioners to declare as surplus property a portion of the unopened right-of-way which connects to the northern right-of-way line of Old Tabby Road. The unopened road is contingent to the property next to the old William Seafood Restaurant, all right? And I think at this time we asked the attorney to give us an explanation. Am I correct? All right, Attorney Hart.
We're gonna talk about the old Tabby Road and the new Tabby Road. The new Tabby Road, obviously, it's about 45 years old now, but it's newer than the old Tabby Road. This is property that's contiguous to the new marina that's going at the Bull River as you're going towards Tabby. It's on the left-hand side. Part of that property used to be the old William Seafood. This is an unopened right-of-way that goes off of the old Tabby Road, which is now used as a frontage road for all those little stores and barbershops and seafood things in front of it. we still own the old Tabby Road. There's really no purpose to this unopened right-of-way from a practical standpoint, and the reason for that is the first area is solid enough ground that you could actually put a road on it or something else on it if you had it. The guy owns property on both sides of this road. So it probably has some beneficial use to him, no doubt. But when you get about halfway up that segmented portion of the road, you hit the marsh. And when I mean marsh, I'm talking about fiddler crab marsh, real pure marsh. To the left of that is a storage unit facility which backs up to that right of way, doesn't encroach it in any way. But as a practical matter, the building itself blocks the ability to really go. You'd have to make a real concerted effort to go behind that. So there's not any objections there. Because the top part of that roadway is marsh, there are two lots back there that we were initially concerned about how they'd gain access. But when we got a larger photograph of the area, we realized that further north of there is a road, and both of those units, along with several other buildings and houses, use that road as their primary and probably only means of access. And this is not going to affect them in any way. All we're doing today is declaring it surplus if you choose to do that. And if you do choose to surplus the property, then what we'll do is we will notify the gentleman that's interested in the property that that's the case, and then there will have to be an appraisal paid for by him telling us what he believes the fair market value will be for that property. And usually what we do is we'll check it against the assessor type values for it. A lot of time unopened right-of-ways don't even have, the assessor won't even value them. So, we'll look at contiguous property, compare it to the appraisal. And if we think it's a fair value or approximately fair, then what we'll do is we'll allow the property with your vote on that subject to be sold. And this process that we follow, we have a lot of unopened right-of-ways in and about Chatham County that came about over the years because of lots of different reasons. But, when you had the big Great Depression, there were a lot of subdivisions that actually didn't get built that have a lot of unopened right-of-ways that when they finally did get built, the developers didn't think they needed that extensive of a geographic roadway system to support the subdivision, so they're never built one. That's the explanation.
All right. That's your explanation? Okay. Commissioner Kiglider, 7.
Question.
Commissioner
So,
4.
Mr. Hart, as as our attorney for the county, are you saying this is standard procedure right here, this request, whenever someone?
Yes, sir. A lot of times we have to turn them down because we have utilities in the roadway. That's not the case here. Or I send it up to engineering and they look at it and say, hey, this road, we're going to end up needing it in the next 10 years. We will not sell anything that has beneficial use to the general public. But if it's something that's between some guy's lot and the lot he owns on both sides of the road, and the road goes basically to nowhere, and they ask for it, and we have no use for it, we'll make a recommendation that it be declared surplus. And that's entirely in your discretion. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, or you can declare it surplus. And then the issue is if somebody wants public property, they got to pay a value for it. We don't give away public property. We never have. It's against the Georgia Constitution. So we try to be fair with the homeowner. Sometimes it benefits them more than it would anybody else, and it benefits us indirectly because when it's included in the lot size, it probably increases the assessed value to some extent. And, indirectly, we might get a little more tax revenue out of it. But primarily, it's to try to get rid of property that may be put to a useful purpose as long as the county's abandoning the right. We don't claim we have perfect title to any of this property, but it's undisputed that this was a platted subdivision that shows this is a public road, so that's the way it is.
Okay, and the reason I'm basically asking is because I noticed the two that were pulled, the next one is a request actually for the property to be given. So I want to make sure, is that it's against the law to actually give property, and the number 9 is what has always been done here?
Yes, sir. Both of them can probably, if y'all declare both of them surplus property, then either one of those could probably be sold to the neighboring property owners if they're willing to pay a
Right,
value for
but I'm saying they can't be legally given away.
No, we can't give away public property. People
Okay, well,
frown
good.
upon that.
That answers my question on number 10 also, so maybe we need to recommend that on number 10, that they be requesting the same thing as number 9. That way the gentleman or lady involved could actually get it moving forward and be able to obtain it sooner if they want, rather than now that we know we can't give the property away.
Okay, so let's make sure, let's just do, go to the other 2 commissioners and stick with number 9, then we,
Okay.
because your recommendation is right. Okay, Commissioner Farrell.
All right. I'm looking at a item in the agenda package, and it doesn't clearly state where we're, is it, from the intersection all the way to the water's edge, or what part?
There's 2 pictures. There's one that shows the warehouses in big, and then there's a smaller one that does not show the warehouses. The road that you see down in the lower right-hand corner, that's part of the old Tabby Road, and then you see a green space there. And then the new Tabby Road, US Highway 80, is to the right of that. And if you look there, you can see that Sages has marked out where the roadway would have run. And if you go about halfway up, you can see all that property just turns to pristine type marshes. So, nobody's gonna fill it, nobody's gonna build on it.
They can't feel it.
And basically, this thing is gonna probably benefit the property owner. My understanding, he plans to put, to the extent he can do it, because there's not that much property involved, parking, I guess, for his marina. It appears to be a successful project.
All right, well, I'm not seeing that picture, so I'm unclear as to where, is there some way you could put it on the projector, what we're looking at?
Okay. This is a photo blow-up of it.
Okay,
And
can you, it's not highlighted where,
Sure.
where we're talking about. I see a lot
I'll have
of
to get up
information,
and do
but
this.
it's very unclear to me what we're voting on or what we're being asked to vote on. If you could get a highlighter and put it on what right away we're talking about.
This is the Highway 80.
Yep,
And based on the aerial, the way it's done at this point in time, this direction would be going towards Tabby, which would put this piece of property in this area here, up through here. And then, for whatever reason, like a lot of unopened right-of-ways, these properties will narrow. These used to be called marsh lots. They're still of record, but this is part of the right-of-way, so if you look over here, you can see there's a marsh lot there, for example. And so what would be purchased would be this area in here, because this is the only ground really usable. We would probably retain the marsh just for purposes of retaining it. The state already claims it as being theirs, so our title to that, to convey it, we would not convey the title to marsh. And so that's,
so are you referring to unincorporated 12th Street? I mean, it's still unclear to me without a highlighter
Yeah.
what parcel we're talking about.
this piece right in here.
179.
And
See
if you
179?
look back here, the properties we were concerned about were these property's right here. But this is a road that's used by everybody that lives on either side, and it wraps on around, and when you get over here this way, it gets closer to the marsh. It gets closer to.
So we're not talking about the old Tabby Road?
No, the old Tabby Road is now a frontage road. If you look very carefully, you can see this sort of dark line here.
Right, I'm familiar with the area
And
and the
it's
geography.
just what's left of the remnants of the right-of-way line of the old Tabby Road. And everybody uses it for frontage.
Right.
If you go further to the frontage road, if you go further the other direction, it opens up where the red light is on US Highway 80, and people can enter and exit with the light down at that end. So it's
Okay.
kind of a communal road.
So that answers my concern, because years ago, when the bridge needed to be replaced, they moved the highway over so you could use the existing bridge and build the new one, and then close the old bridge and then close the old road. The reverse may happen at some point, and probably will happen at some point in the future. And there may be some value in rerouting Highway 80 through the old route and leaving that off. So
And
that's
that-
why I'm reluctant
Yeah.
to vote for that to be surplus. But since it's just this section over here that's kind of dog-legged off of there at a perpendicular direction, I don't see where that would
Well,
affect.
we're fortunate in that when they separated the new Highway 80, they left a green space running down the old road. That's
Yeah,
a very substandard road, so if we needed to improve it for a temporary bridge access while we're building the new bridge, you got some land to do it with.
Right. Now, would this ever be needed, this property, for a laydown area for building the bridge? That's really my last concern, when you're doing a big project.
In theory,
And you got a
yeah.
highly populated area, it's very
Sure.
difficult to have enough land to stage a big construction project.
Yeah, in theory, I could not 100% rule that out. And really, the question is gonna be, which side do they build the new bridge on? And, they may very well build it on the other side of the bridge, because the old support system for the original Tabby Bull River Road is still there, which means you gotta go to the expense of removing it, whereas you can build the other side without undergoing.
Except that there's a very nice marina there, which you'll have to remove the
Correct.
marina.
I
to
mean,
do
there's
that.
no
So
good-
there's no easy choices here.
Correct.
When
This
it's
is
this
gonna be-
populated and this developed.
Yeah.
So how much acreage is this section?
We did not measure that. You can see that yeah, it doesn't. But I think that includes part of the marsh, and we'd probably quit claim deed the right of way, save and accept the marsh, and he doesn't care about the marsh either, because he doesn't want to get involved with that issue.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's what you're looking at, a good acre.
It's totally up to you guys.
Honestly, I'd like to look into it a little bit more before we just make a snap judgment.
Why don't we continue?
I'd like to table that request, because
Okay,
we have to think out as commissioners for 50 to 100 years, not 5 or 10. And I think consideration needs to be given,
All right. Let us get to it.
for a couple of
On
those
the
items. I'm
floor,
not-
okay. On the floor is a motion to table with a second to table number 9. Any unreadiness? Please vote. Okay, 2, all right. So number 9 is tabled. We'll take that back to you.
And if any member of the commission has some particular piece of information they want about the property, please let us know, and we'll try to get it for you. Some of it
Well,
exists.
I'd like a clearer picture with highlight and acreage and what's on there now. And I'd like somebody from the engineering department and GDOT to look at this and give a projection for future possible need of
We can do that.
having some public property that could be used temporarily for whatever reason. Now, if all those things come back negative and it's just pure surplus, then, you know, we can take it to the next step. But
Okay.
I'd like to answer all those questions before I make
So,
a decision.
Commissioner Stone, do you still have your,
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
I had some of the similar concerns as Commissioner Farrell,
okay, that
and,
takes that out.
but I will have some on number 10.
Okay, well, we get to number 10. Let's get, we through number 9. Now, request board approval for county to declare as a portion of unopened, Fort, is that how you pronounce it, street? As a surplus to quitclaim the right-of-way, and that's in District 1. And now my understanding is, first let's do this. Let's get a motion one way or the other. Then we go to the unreadiness we have, and plus the speakers, right? Am I correct in doing that way?
I think you should let them speak before a motion is made.
You want them to speak? Okay. You said you have someone who wanted to speak, Ms. Kramer?
I believe these are the property owners approaching the dais.
Okay. Please state your name and address for the records.
My name is Elaine Longwater, 289 Center Drive, Burnside, Island.
I'm Edward Harms, 290 Burnside Island. Mr. Commissioner, gentlemen, ladies, I appreciate this opportunity to enlighten you as to some of the issues that exist on a small island. As many of you are aware, property values on islands like this really dropped after Irma. 139 houses were damaged by floodwaters or rainwater or something on that island, and insurance went up, flood insurance, that is, and the value of the property did drop. And it really set me to thinking. And Ms. Longwater and I both agree, we'd like to have a higher property value, and I'm sure the county would too. While we're benefactors of the Stephen Day, it won't always be that way, and the property will change hands, and the county will inure to a higher taxes in it, but only if the property values go up. And so we started scratching our heads. Well, you know, you can beautify your property, you can build new houses. We're not in that mode. We're beyond building new houses at this stage in our lives. At least I am, and I feel Ms. Longwater is the same way. There's no point. And I live in a house that's built in 1910. The Vernonview Subdivision was developed in 1910 by Mr. Mercer, who also laid out Garden City. And it's the SAGES program. When I look at it, I question the accuracy of some of it. Now, it really led me to believe that maybe some things are not right on the SAGES program, because I have a garage that's built in 1910, and I have a well that's been there, well, since my family owned the property in 55. And I have a drive, a lane, that goes from Montrose, on SAGES that is, Montrose to Possum Point, and it goes right through
Munford.
Montrose?
Munford.
Munford, oh, I'm sorry. That goes right through the garage and my well. And I wonder, how is that possible that they could have put a garage up in the lane, because that's what it was a lane, it's a 20-foot right-of-way. And how could they the county allow a well to be placed right in that lane. So I don't believe, first of all, that that is accurate, and there may be some documentation, but when we went to the courthouse, we can't go past 1930. Now, what they could provide us was up to 1930. Now, Munford Road is a 60-foot right-of-way that runs down to what was originally the entry road to Vernonview when it was established in 1910. And it was a shell road. And that Munford Road terminated there and is no longer in use. It has not been marked or used or utilized, I know, since 1940s when a fence was run down the middle of it by the then owner, William Osborne. And Ms. Longwater and myself enjoy 30 feet either side of that fence currently, and is used for a driveway. And it will continue to be used that way. But it seems to us both that to enhance our property, it would be to the advantage of not only us, but to the county to include those 30 feet by approximately 300 feet into what we are as owners of it, instead of the county not having to come in, take the fence up, take the trees out, take the electrical poles that are in the middle of that road as well. So there's some issues there that maybe the county would find objectionable to even spend money on, and it would be to the advantage of the county to go ahead and quitclaim this at a nominal fee, because the values are not what we would like to have, or even you would like to have as commissioners, for what I consider a very nice place to live for anyone. And so we humbly request that y'all vote affirmative to allow this to go forward. We do understand it's got to be surveyed. We do understand it's got to be appraised. And we have no problem with either one of those actions. But we'd like to go forward with it, and hopefully this will be agreeable with you people.
All right, let's hear from Commissioner Kicklighter. I saw first, and Commissioner Stone, did I see your hand? Did you take it up, put it down?
I had one, but
All
go
right,
ahead.
Commissioner Stone, and then Commissioner Farrell. Commissioner Kicklighter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for coming in today. Something you just said at the very end got my attention quick for your behalf, actually, big time here. You spoke about the Stevens Day part of it.
Yeah.
If you're successful at acquiring this land, whether it was just given to you or you purchase it, once it's incorporated into your lot, do you know whether or not they're going to call that a substantial change and your Stevens Day is gone and you're going to have to start over again at the current rate? Because that's very possible.
I really don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
And I just said, well, we got to find out.
Yeah, because if you froze it
we need
20
to move
years ago,
forward. Yeah, right.
you might not be worth you going that route.
Hey, well, it still is not going to raise the value of it because it's been used as a driveway since 19.
No, but I'm saying if you froze your value at 200,000 20 years ago,
Yeah.
and it's now at 400,000, what it's kept current, but you're still only being taxed at 200,000. Once you incorporate a piece of land into that one piece of land, it's very possibly is going to wipe out the value you froze it at, and you're going to have to apply again and freeze it at the new value of 400,000, what it is valued with the other piece.
Do you
So,
know?
I
for
don't
sure?
know.
Okay.
I'm
That's
asking.
speculation,
I mean,
and I understand that.
Yeah, that's one thing I would like.
Okay, I
before
appreciate you pointing that out.
Sometimes that's one of those be careful what you ask for things.
Yeah, right, you're right.
But, yeah, that sounds very possible to me, and I see the attorney shaking his head, it sounds possible, so I don't know though.
I don't, I'm like you, I don't know the
Answer to that, none of us
that. I can tell you that there's a rule saying that we'll include up to 5 acres in a homestead, so if I were in his position, I'd say I didn't increase my acreage above 5, so it's still one parcel. If we did it, we would quitclaim deed it as a separate parcel.
That would be
And
good.
He would probably need to keep it as a
Separate
separate parcel,
parcel,
but
good.
have ownership to it.
Good.
And, you know, that's two pretty good arguments why it shouldn't change Stevens Day.
Okay.
Now, I'm not the Board of Assessors, and they may have a different viewpoint of that, but that's,
Thank you.
I can't say that there's not some risk there.
Right.
One thing I did hear Mr. Harn say, which quite frankly he's correct about, is Sages is a sidelight imaging of what we think the county looks like, and we draw in the lines for subdivisions and things, but it's not a survey device. And therefore, that line might be 5 feet this way or 4 feet this way in actuality, and the only way you will ever know that is if you do a survey. Mr. Harn is concerned about maybe some of his barn or house or garage technically encroaching into that road. You know, he might do the survey and find out it doesn't. But, you know, we don't go out and survey roads for practice. We've got plenty to do.
And
All right.
on that, I'll just finish. Initially, when I saw this, I thought, just my initial thought was, give them the land. That was my actual,
I'm
just
with you.
initial thought.
You got my vote, but you're not my vote.
But after listening to the law,
I understand.
legally, we can't. And that's hard for your rep to tell you. And so I'll be the horrible guy and tell you.
Well, maybe you can make a motion to give us compensation for the care we've taken of this road.
Well, I think that's state law, though, I believe.
Yeah,
It's state law, I believe, not local.
I
But,
understand.
because that's just an ordinance, and we can change
I
ordinances.
appreciate
But,
that's good. Glad.
but I appreciate you being here, and I
Thank you.
wish, but my recommendation's gonna be, if you so choose, because I don't believe this is, your exact request will pass. My recommendation would be for you to ask for this to take place, just like whoever the petitioner was on number 9, where we declare that as surplus property as a portion of the unopened right-of-way. And at that point, that would give, once it's approved, it would give y'all the right to have it surveyed, I guess, or whatever, and appraised, and then at least give you the option to make the purchase. And it probably, and this is a question that most would have, and because I would hope it wouldn't be very valuable as that little piece, and I don't think it would. It
No.
shouldn't appraise for that much anyway.
Well, we just have to see what it is.
Right, but would y'all be willing to go that route rather than just a flat-out no today?
Well, we have to. We don't have any choice. We gotta
Okay.
go that route.
Well, I'm gonna, rather than making you guys hear a no, I'm gonna make the motion that we actually change their request to declare the piece in question as surplus property and a portion of the unopened right-of-way. Is that correct?
That's correct. Now typically, when you've got two property owners, one owns one side and then the other one owns the other side, we will actually do two quitclaim deeds up to the center line of that 20-foot lane. One gets 10, the other gets 10. If the other, one side decides, I don't care, you can have it both, then we'll deed it that way. You know, we just want to have a process that everybody gets treated equally.
Okay, well, I will amend my motion to include what
Reflect
the
what he
attorney
said.
just said, reflect what he said.
All right, we need a second.
I'll second, well,
All right, so, no, I'm still coming. I got you. I'm not gonna let it go. All right, no, I got it. All right, it's been properly motioned and second. All right, now, so we get to unreadiness. All right, so let's go to Commissioner Stone with her unreadiness.
all right, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate you all being here today and explaining your dilemma. My concern, however, is it does trouble me that the county must have issued a permit for a garage and for a well on a piece of property that they didn't have necessarily clear title to. So I put this in a slightly different category of some of what we've heard before. If in fact that garage and that well are on property that they may or may not own. And I just find that a little troubling, so I don't know exactly what to do about that, but if it's that little strip that veers off to the left, if they've got a building sitting on it and a well in it, to me, that really should rightfully belong to them. But that's just my opinion. I understand the law. I think I'm very grateful for this dialogue, but to me, this makes it a little different when you've got a building on it and a well on it. It just somehow, I mean, the county can't maintain property with a garage on it or a well on it, so I guess I find that a little troubling.
Well, the policy is the county in situations like this, that has been there for many years. If the people wish to buy it after we declare it surplus, we will entertain that. If they don't wish to buy it, we're not gonna do anything. We're not in the business of going out and chasing things down like this. An encroachment is an encroachment. Now, whoever's property has the encroachment into the right of way, let's say 10 years from now they sell the property or whatever, they may get a question from somebody saying, you know, what do you encroach into the right of way? Are you aware of that? And, you know, you got lenders now that do different things differently than they did 40 years ago. So that might be something that this could cure if they chose to go the route of acquiring it. Because once we gave them the quitclaim deed, they've had a continuous, open, notorious possession of it. Adverse possession does not run against the county, but it would run against anybody else who made the claim, and the county would not have a claim because we gave them a quitclaim deed.
And plus, as I heard, you all did research, but the research only goes back to 1930.
Well,
and
in
not
the
in
courthouse,
20s.
yeah,
In the
records.
courthouse, that's what I.
However,
Yeah.
however, I have benefit of the history of a lot of the area and the layout originally done by Mercer's group to do the layout Vernonview. This is not on the river.
Right.
This is a marsh bound property with a tidal creek in front of it, which is great for crabbing from my standpoint, but.
So you invite me one day to come crabbing?
I don't mind at all. You know, it's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
What Mr. Schott's talking about here is, excuse me.
That's all right. We know.
Yeah. Is talking about, is interesting because I believe that in the layout that they did for Vernonview, they put a lane there to separate the different property stashes. Because at the time, there was still the Shell Road there. And on the other side of the Shell Road was a green belt. And that green belt was county property up until, I think, the 1930s. I can't, somewhere in there. And that property was, the Greenbelt Park, when you first come on the island, was used by the county to dump tree stumps and everything else on the fill of the marsh. And a lot of that property that's, when you first come on the island, is rather low. And it does flood, it did flood in Irma, part of it, and came up to a certain level. And that's happened also in 1920. But that lane that runs through that thing was purchased from my southern side, or southeast side line, by James G. Hardy. And some time ago, for that 20-foot alleyway, he had property surrounding both parts of it. And so the county did deed that to him at one time. But that stretch between Munford and that bound lane now is 20 feet wide by maybe 100 feet long. And it's just sitting there and it runs right through. And I believe that somewhere in there, this thing, when they picked it up on Sages, it comes through very nicely and that it looks like it's county property. But I think somewhere, if I could find paperwork in the county, we would find that that was deeded over in order for, in 1910, which is when the layout of that lane was made. That's when the garage was built and the well was sunk. because that's when the people purchased, or they had purchased it a little bit earlier. It's the second oldest building on the island.
All right, Commissioner Farrell.
Yes, I'm going to support the request to declare this surplus, and I think, Mrs. Longwater and Mr. Harms, if they should follow through and acquire the property, that should, solve a multitude of issues that have been discussed up here.
Okay, going back to Commissioner Kicklighter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I just want Commissioner Stone to know that I definitely understand where you're coming from on this. And had this not been 1910, when whatever permits were issued, and they didn't have satellites up there like, images, and if y'all were able to find where someone permitted something on that property, it would be a no-brainer. I'd gladly break the law if it took that, because there's nobody could possibly ever challenge us whenever if they had the document showing something like that. But this way, hopefully, you can at least get what you want out of it, and if nothing else, peace of mind knowing that no one up here is ever interested in coming and taking it away anyway, no matter what, you always have use.
Only for the
All right.
crabs.
Yeah. Commissioner Adams.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one question.
Yes, sir.
That garage you said that's on that property, is that part of your tax bill?
Oh, of course. It does, it's more than 20 feet wide. It straddles that property. I mean, and the well's right down in the middle of that 20 feet.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right, have we settled everybody? All right, please cast your vote.
Thank you
We're
very
voting
much.
for the substitute motion. Thank you. All right. We move to first readers. Amendment to the Fire Service Protection Fee Ordinance. All right, we'll take that up at our next meeting as a second reader and answer all questions and have all the documents. Second reader, amendment to Dig Once Ordinance, numbering to include in Chapter 24 entitled Environment Regulations of the Chatham County Code. Now, this is the second reader because we had, on the first time, we had the wrong number. It was 26 on that other one, but it's actually supposed to be on 24, all right? All right, is there a motion to amend?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Well,
Is there a second?
second.
All right, any unreadiness? Please cast your votes. All right. We go to informational item and Ms. Kramer.
Okay, I have a few things to discuss. Or let you know about. First of all, you just approved the Central Square expanded project, which will include the sheriff.
Right.
So we're really excited the sheriff's joined that project, and I want to thank Kelvin Lewis, who's in the back, and Drew Cree for working with the sheriff's department to get them on board with our CAD RMS. And that will also include the jail management system for the sheriff's department. We have millage levy public hearings, June 16th, 9:30 a.m. and 6 o'clock.
Can I ask a question? If we're gonna do the rollback on the millage, are these hearings necessary,
Yes,
Yeah,
you
you
would at
still
least have to have two,
even with the full rollback?
even with the rollback.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Our internal audit department received a peer review award, certificate of compliance from the Association of Local Government Auditors, so kudos to them. So we also have in your packet the Lake Mayor turning 50 flyer, which is, I think, the same day as our millage. hearings, Unfortunately, 4 to 7. But the millage hearing won't start till 6, so if you want to go by there. And some other items as well. And we have information for you that we can talk about. This is the latest version of the gymnasium project, so.
And that's what she's supposed to give the update.
Right, and Suzanne
Okay.
is here.
Yeah. She's supposed to bring the update, because they just got it late yesterday afternoon.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Ms. Kramer, do we know when or ETA on that CAD RMS?
Wrong mic, sorry, I'm not used to being up. I think we have another year till we're fully implemented. I think Kelvin left, but I think it's another full year to be
Okay.
fully implemented. We're about to finish up first part of it, phase one, and we're moving into phase two.
All right,
So we
with
think
that
by next June, it should be wrapped up.
complete,
Yeah.
how long do you think it'll take to get Chatham EMS and the dispatch linked?
I will find out for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think the fire was the first piece of it, but I'm not sure how they had
Gotcha.
timed out that change in process.
All right.
Okay, Ms. Cooler?
Hello again.
Yeah.
So what you have in front of you is our current draft of a program of spaces and a concept layout for a 12-court gymnasium facility. That will be,
SPOS
that
7. SPOS
that is
7.
included in SPOS 7, and it'll include not only the 12 courts, but at the far end, you'll see on the second level will be a walking track that'll be above the last 2 courts or last 4 courts.
This is 2 levels, or just the track is on the second
Just the
level?
track is on the second. Where we are right now is the consultant has given us this is hot off the presses, so we're still under review, this draft program of spaces and the concept. Once we finalize it and make sure that the building footprint itself is about where we want it, they're gonna return to us a space need as far as how big a land do we need. And make recommendations on properties that this will fit on.
Okay. All right, now, questions? I know Commissioner Whiteley has questions. I'm gonna start with him. Yeah. All right.
So thank you for
Who else?
this.
Wait a minute,
So I'm sorry.
Who else? All right, Commissioner Rivers, anybody else? Okay, let's go, Commissioner Whiteley.
So thank you for this. I know we had our meeting and this is awesome, and I'm excited. I guess the next question would be, I may have missed it. When do we expect to hear how much space will be needed to actually put this somewhere?
It's gonna depend on how quick we turn around comments on this. We do have a few tweaks, I think, that need to be made based on comments from Parks and Recreation, but I don't think it's gonna change the footprint of the building, and in that case, we'll notify them later today, hopefully, that we're okay as far as the footprint goes and that they can get moving, and then we'll see that within, I'd say, 2 weeks, we'd know.
Well, I'll give you my comment, and it's very short. On that, on the track side, it looks like surrounding 4 courts would be a potential track. I don't know if we can round that out and make it 200 meters, but if so, that gives us opportunity to host indoor track meets, in addition to basketball, volleyball, and all the other balls.
Okay.
That was my comment. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Rivers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for bringing this into our view. I'm looking at the layout of the courts. Would this be the definite layout as far as courts side by side?
That's what we're proposing now to keep the footprint
Okay,
manageable.
I already see a problem with that. If you're carrying on games at the same time, you're gonna have a problem with whistles. And trying to do this all in one area. You know, as far as the games go, balls going into the other court,
Well, we have discussed management of that and the way that things are done in other facilities, as far as using foldable walls and curtains.
Yes.
I saw Stephen walk in, he can explain more because he's more familiar with how that works. But we have discussed using those things to keep balls on their court and to manage the sound traveling from.
And if I may, I'm traveling right now with Savannah Greyhounds. My son plays on the team. We were just last week at the Visa Center at Worldwide of Sports. That one was 2, 4, 6. That was 8 courts in one facility, and basically you'll have almost like a baby gate that separates the courts. The whistles they don't normally become an issue because the direction. And again, we've done this all summer. This is 90% of our tournaments have been in facilities like this. So I do, every now and then, you have like the kind of phantom whistle where they'll hear a whistle, but our game was not supposed to stop, but it's very rare. I think the kids nowadays and the teams nowadays are kind of used to it. You can hear what's directly on top of you rather than the next court.
Yes, and that is if there is a petition in between those
Yes,
courts.
sir. There's normally, it's almost probably about as high as this table here, maybe sometimes as high as this. And it's like a plastic fencing that can be broken down and stored or put up, and they're in between the courts. Then, of course, scorer's table and so on and so forth on each of them. So I can just say currently it's not as much of an issue as may have been in the past.
Now, are these bleachers on the side there?
There are bleachers, but let me go back to the sound. They do have a sound barrier curtain too. They have that out where a big curtain's on there.
It rolls out.
Effingham has something similar to that, and some in North Georgia too. And they go out and you can barely hear the whistle, but you can distinguish the whistle on your court between the whistle on another court. And I've seen what you're talking about too.
Okay. Now, go ahead.
That was my only, that was my concern.
Let me say this
As far
to
as the design.
All right, let me say this to all the commissioners now, all right? You've got this in your hand, all right? Please comment and get it to the manager, so the manager can get it to engineering and get it to Park and Rec, so that they can look at all those concerns and they can look at what's practiced in other places.
Yeah.
All right, because we don't have anything like this. So therefore, we're gonna have to look at what others are doing. So please, the way to do this is to take this document, get your comments and get it to the managers so that the managers can get it to them, then they can get you your answer, okay?
Yeah.
If we help put this together, it'll be what you want it to be, rather than just somebody giving you something.
Right.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Okay?
Now, Mr. Whiteley, you've been to the Riverview in Augusta.
Yes, sir.
And kudos, it's really, really nice in the way they have it set up. It's almost like a mall, and you have a store here, which is a gym, you have a store there, which is a gym, and it's all separated, you know. So, we'll consider looking at something like that as well.
Well, I would say, Mr. Rivers, to do that, it would significantly lessen the amount of courts.
Yes.
And also potentially lessen being able to do other things.
Yeah.
With something like this, 12 courts, you cover up those 12 courts, we ultimately have an arena.
Yeah.
Potentially, so, or storage. So I think when we look at the ability to use for multiple uses, like, of course, I love basketball, but I think it is wise for us to maybe try to have a broader approach, because if we start separating things out, then we're going to be significantly limited.
Locked in.
So let's get all that to the managers, so that the managers can have it with the staff, and they can send them, and they can pull up whatever they need to pull up, so they can answer all those questions before we move to the next phase, move to any other thing. What you're trying to get, all right, is what they're trying to help you get, okay?
Right.
But if they don't have your input, they don't know your thoughts, and they don't know what your ideas are, so let's do that, okay? Let's go to Commissioner Milton 5 first, and then we go to Commissioner Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question is, you're trying to determine how much space you need, right? in order to find a location? Do you have a location that you got in mind? I just kinda wanna get a.
You gotta have the chicken.
Until they know the
Put the egg
space.
before the chicken.
Yeah, until they know the space, they can't, they gotta know what they
can't
need.
cite it
But you
until
know
you
you
know
need a
what.
big space because you're gonna have parking and all that stuff,
We're
right?
trying to use our parks, our existing parks if we can, but we've got to look at the footprint first.
Yeah.
Sign first.
Okay, that's your question?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch y'all, cause y'all be conspiring over here. Come on, Commissioner Farrell.
Thank you. All right, so this is a big step. We're starting to make some traction here, and I'm very pleased with that. Input from all commissioners and, folks that have commissioners' ears and staff's ears. Now's the time to make recommendations, so that we can try to come up with the best product possible that'll serve the most needs possible that are, reasonable. Could I get this in an email form?
Yeah, you can
I've got a few coaches that I could pop this to and have them look at it and give me some feedback, so it helps
Right.
me to give staff better feedback. But, and yeah, I'm looking forward to another update in 2 weeks. And I'd really like to get this thing launched.
Yes.
And, I'd like to get this ribbon cut, and we'd be using it before this term ends. Before this term ends. That's plenty of time.
That's a
people.
super heavy lift.
That's plenty of time.
Let me say this now, two things. Make sure we put this on the website, okay? Let's get this on the website, okay? And with that, let's extend an invitation to anybody who wanna go on the website. As you're gonna send it to their emails, and they're gonna send it out to their constituents, let me invite everyone who hears this, and sees this broadcast, all right? Invite you to go to the website and get this information and give your commissioner, all right? Give your commissioner your concerns, give your commissioner your comments so that we can incorporate this in what we're doing. And then we'll make sure that, when you give it to the commissioner, they'll make sure that the staff get it, because the commissioners can go to My Chatham and put it in there. And if you put it in there, it goes to everybody, and it goes to whoever emailed it in or send it in to My Chatham, okay? So then everybody will get to see it. It goes to the managers, it goes to the departments, it comes to me, and everybody else will get to see what the concerns are so that we can address them before we make any decision. But let me caution you now. This project is in SPLOST 7. We've only been collecting since October of 2020, am I right, or is it 2021? November, is October 20 is when we started 7? Okay, it started then now. So you must know, okay, that's where this money is. And that's what but we're trying to arrange these things so we can get them done and get them done timely, because the law will not allow you to build something you don't have the money for, okay? So let's get all the ideas and all the thoughts so that we don't come back after we have ribbon cutting, after we have groundbreaking, after we start building and say, oh, y'all should have done this rather than doing that, okay? Let's get those in now, all right? That's my invitation to the public. You can be a part. Get it to your commissioner. Yes, sir.
I just have one thing to say to my man there. You got to get something done with those courts out at Lake Mirror. I was at your sports camp this past week, and I'm not going to send you a fee for that, but I just want to let you know I was there with Coach Daniels.
Yeah, Coach
and
told me.
That court is horrible.
Yeah.
It needs some work.
We do have some plans to
Please.
renovate the
Okay.
courts.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? We must go into executive session for appointments, personnel, litigation, okay. We don't have real estate?
We got real estate.
Yeah, we got real estate. That's what I thought. Okay. Let me have a motion. Properly motion and second, please vote. All right, we declare go into executive session.